The gendarme returns. What do you need? We typically only accept new members once per semester. There's this whole process with essays and presentations on assigned topics. But given that we have some extra seating at the moment, I guess we could be convinced to expedite an application or two.
Steban, you can't be serious. For these gendarmes?
I am serious. As materialists, we've got to adapt to conditions as they are. Besides, he'll still need to pass the interview portion of the entrance process. Assuming he's even still interested, that is. The gendarme returns. What do you need? What do you mean? This is the reading group. We're in something of a rebuilding phase.
Some of our former comrades didn't have the ideological fortitude our work demands.
Intellectual attrition is maybe the best way to describe it. Felix said he couldn't keep up with the reading on top of his classwork. And Susanna wanted to read text other than Mazovian theory. Like novels, if you can believe it.
Imagine the audacity of wanting to read a novel in a reading group.
We've tried recruiting new members, but unfortunately the current intellectual climate is pretty hostile to inframaterialist thought. These days, if you're on the left, the ascendant schools are the Godwaldians and their iconoclasts.
Don't forget about Maurice and the turnips.
Right. Then there was the whole turnip debacle. Cindy is... how to describe her role?
Something of an ideological auxiliary, perhaps.
Yes, that's exactly how I would put it. And naturally, we support her radical counter-liberal aesthetics.
But she refuses to submit an essay, so we can't call her a member of the group per se.
That doesn't stop her from using the room for studio space, of course. For starters, they love talking about beans. That's right. Iconoclasts are obsessed with beans. They love thinking about beans. They love counting beans. But most of all, they love building models to predict how many beans there'll be in the future.
Nota bene, iconoclast is an extra pejorative form of the already pejorative name, Mazovian economists, a moderate school of Mazovianism which advocates the gradual transition to communism through carefully managed economic modernization rather than violent social revolution.
They're by far the most bean-centric school of communism.
If only. They've got all the beans accounted for in their asset sheets, their quarterly budgets, their future projections. But for some reason, there are never enough beans to go around. So we've just got to cut our bean rations in half.
And next thing you know, there are budget cuts, so now we've got to cut the bean rations in half again. You see, iconoclasts claim to be communists, but in reality they're just liberals with hard-ons for spreadsheets. It's an unfortunate story. You see, our ex-comrade Maurice is something of an economist.
He's studying macro and microeconomics.
Oh, a real intellectual, it sounds like.
Right. So a few weeks ago we were discussing the extra physical capabilities of the revolutionary state. And Maurice said, what were his exact words, Ulex's?
It was unbelievable. He said, turnips don't care if they are grown by communists, moralists, or Vulcan. They grow just the same.
Basically, he was rejecting the whole foundation of inframaterialist theory.
What is this inframaterialist business they keep blathering about? You've never heard of anything like it.
Susanna said that he has been hanging out with some non-communists lately.
For us, the question boiled down to, if you don't even accept the basic ideas of Nielsen and inframaterialist theory, why are you in the reading group? Exactly. What educated person could believe that turnips grow at the same rate under capitalism and communism?
It's a sad reflection on our educational institutions.
Well, it wasn't so much that he was expelled.
He just quit coming. We haven't seen him around for weeks.
They're the most depressing school of communism. They love writing long books with a patina of Mazovian theory to cover up their cheap psychologizing.
A gang of cheap psychologists and intellectual midgets. Typical Gottwalders, in other words.
It's okay for Uli to say that, because his dad is from Gottwald. The Gottwald school believe that intellectuals as a class are incapable of sparking revolutionary change. So all they can do is critique, capitalism from inside itself.
In other words, they have lost faith in their own relevance.
That's why they spend all their time smoking cigarettes and writing long works of criticism that make you want to commit suicide. It is miserable. That's probably why they're always committing suicide. You see, the Gottwald school look like communists. They talk like communists. But scratch the patina and you'll see beneath that they're just depressed liberals who've read too many books. Of course not. The only people who actually call themselves liberals are mouth-foaming reactionaries.
Basically indistinguishable from fascists. You'd need an X-ray machine to tell the difference.
Go ahead. Yeah, it's hers. She just sort of moved it all in a few months ago.
She said if she's going to make truly radical art, she needs a suitably radical workspace.
And I don't think she could afford rent at an actual studio. Oh, sure. He's definitely interesting, I would say.
Interesting. Isn't that just Binoclard for I don't have a real opinion?
I guess you could call her latest stuff a sort of counter-bourgeoisie calligraphy. She's got a real taste for radical slogans.
It's too bad she hasn't developed the theoretical foundation to do truly radical work.
I think she'll get there, though. She's still looking for a subject equal to her ambitions. The deal? At a fundamental level, I guess you could call it the shattered bones of a dream crushed by capital.
That's really good, Steban. You should save that for an essay.
Thanks, Uli. When the idea is sound, the words just sort of flow.
Yes, now keep developing the idea.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Not as good as Steban's original idea, though.
Go ahead.
The young man frowns at the little pile of boxes on the floor.
Nothing, just messing around until the meeting started.
They're watching those matchboxes awfully intently for two guys who are just messing around. It's almost as though they were trying to create the most unstable structure they could, with predictable results. What's there to be scared of? You've really been cracking the books these last few days. You can go toe to intellectual toe with any reading group in Martinez. You've spent a not inconsiderable amount of time arranging the works in your mental library by theme and period. All the ideas and references you'll need are ready at hand. Now, chin up. You've got this.
Oh, you want to start now? Sure, we can manage that.
You've caught him off balance. The momentum is already in your favor.
Go ahead and take a seat. Since we haven't had time to prepare an exhaustive questionnaire, I think we can keep this interview more freeform. Why don't you tell us a bit about the books you're interested in, and we'll just see where the conversation goes. Absolutely. It's the only proper foundation to develop a real understanding of events. Interesting. Say more about that.
This is a good start. They're starting to loosen up. You feel relaxed and in control. Soon, you're in a lively back and forth on the political substrata of the Hiamdalaman universe.
But don't you think that pornographic fascist mythology gets pretty tiresome after a few books?
Let them know your interest in Muscleman literature is much more high-minded than they're giving you credit for.
Ah, well, there's certainly value in that kind of reading. Comrade Mazov says something on that note in his collected speeches.
To find victory in the cultural war, we must first scout the battlefield.
These kids are eating out of your hand, practically. Another quarter of an hour disappears. The questions come rapid fire, but you have an answer for every one. Now you can sense things starting to slow down. The interview must be reaching an inflection point.
But to Comrade Ulix's point, isn't there value in reading really difficult books, just for the sheer challenge of it? Okay, we'll bite. What sort of stories are we talking about?
How about a tale of adventure, intrigue, and daring-do?
You've got our attention. Let's see where this goes.
Yes, I'm rather curious myself.
Now you're getting somewhere. These boys aren't even bothering to contain their interest. They want to see how you weave the threads of this story together. Even the lieutenant seems engrossed, despite your revealing details of an RCM investigation.
I'm just trying to imagine what it would have been like had he died in the summer.
Not pretty. Eventually the force of gravity would have caused the rest of the body to separate from the head. There would have been very little for us to work with.
Wait, are you saying the hanged man wasn't really hanged?
Another quarter of an hour disappears. The conversation bounces back and forth. Whatever their pretensions, it's clear these two have been craving something real. Now you can sense things starting to slow down. Time to wrap this tale up.
But I'm still not sure how communism could have killed him.
There has to be some other element to it. We don't have the full story yet.
I suppose we'll have to leave it there. But listen, gendarme. We could use someone with your breadth of expertise. With just a little more theoretical background, I think you'll be able to make some real contributions. And with that, welcome to the most ideologically advanced materialist reading group in Martinez. Here's your first assignment. It's an overview of inframaterialist theory. A little basic, as you'll see, but one has to start somewhere. Come back when you're done. We'll be here pretty much every night after 10 p.m. Do be sure to take your time with the reading. We'll be eager to hear your thoughts. Lynching? No. We're not an operational cell.
We think of ourselves as more of an intellectual vanguard.
To be clear, communism is not an official suspect in this investigation, because it's not a person, you see.
Seems unlikely from a strictly inframaterialist perspective.
Comrade Ulix is right. The amount of plasm required to strike down an ideological enemy outright is enormous. We're talking second-level effects, at a minimum.
Or even third.
What are these levels they're talking about? This doesn't sound like any communism you've encountered before.
In any case, it's not like the SRV has established a party line on the subject of lynchings in Martinez.
Though historically speaking, the SRV has supported direct action against right-wing paramilitary squads, especially when they are doing the Indo-Tribe's dirty work.
Good point. So as a provisional matter, I can say we support it.
Are they being sarcastic? You feel like you're caught in some elaborate joke labyrinth, but it's impossible to see your way through.
No, we're an independent organization. We acknowledge and respect the union's efforts, but our interests are more theoretical than Mr. Clare's.
He speaks the truth.
That's easy. Crime is simply the inevitable expression of the injustice and incoherence embedded within capitalism itself. It's a symptom, in other words, not a cause.
His companion can barely suppress a yawn.
No, unfortunately, the communards were hunted down and killed nearly to a man. All that's left of them are bones and old rifles.
His companion's eyes widen as you hold up the ancient weapon.
Yes, like that one. I wonder how many of these are still lying around in cellars or sealed up behind the masonry. Can I hold it? It's heavier than I was expecting.
Though what, exactly, you can't say. He turns the rifle over again, admiring the glint of light off the oily barrel. When he's finished, he returns the rifle to you with a nod of appreciation. It's getting late, and
Good night, officer.
the bed is comforting, if... The bed underneath you is soft, if lumpy. Waves wash the sand underneath the hut, then grow distant to your ear. In the quiet hum of the organic heater, you fall asleep.
Like a deftly cast fishing net, sleep pulls you out of the world and into its dark shore. The rough mesh chafes, tightening around you, it digs into your brain.
How have things been going for you out there? Helped anyone lately? Saved anyone lately? Murdered anyone lately?
This bastard isn't even listening to you.
Because you know you are a murderer. A disco music listening psycho killer who offs poor people and then forgets about it.
Hear that? You are naive to think he's afraid of his bloodied hands. Soul brother. Oh no. I see inside his amygdala and his hippocampus. The thing he's really scared of is much, much worse than that.
Don't tell him, sister. It's too bad.
They're right. This is their function. To keep you from it.
We're trying to help you. All these processes, these tortures, voices and tremors are all just distractions, flares and countermeasures to keep you from the last dream.
The last dream will be total annihilation. Cinders peeling off the fuselage. We won't be there to help you anymore, Harry. We will be dormant. You will be naked and alone.
Of hell. An ancient sadness, brother. 10,000 years later, in front of the video rental, there is a warm breath on your face again. Everything is okay again.
Everything is so okay. Your eyelids flutter open for a moment. When you close them again, you sense the light of the room around you. You're back. In 2 seconds, the alarm will ring.
The last thought in your head before waking is, maybe you shouldn't have seen that stained glass window in the church.
Hi again. So, how are things going?
As always. So you had a talk with... That's fine, man. But I've got to warn ya, our signs are still off. It'll take some time for me to get my psi on. Weird stuff. Specialised. There was a data processor and some sort of long-wave machinery. Wires going into water. Gives off a spy sign. Or some fucked-up Samaran science sign. You know, the kind that goes headfirst into the supernatural.
The People's Republic of Samara is a product of Revishal's sister revolution on the Grand Isola. It's known as a severely degenerated rogue state.
Most of it doesn't exist, but there's also stuff that isn't allowed to exist, because the moralists think it's too dangerous for the plebs. Psionic powers, pale-related diseases, pretenders pretending to be human, folk rights, that kind of stuff. I'm doing what I can.
It's not easy for him. It probably took him years to get used to Andre.
The hardcore aesthetic is esoteric. It's not meant to be discussed with the law at this moment.
It's not easy to reach a harmonic resonance of signs without some adjustment.
Yes, further sign matching would do good for us. One way to achieve this would be by getting us into the church. A sticker? You mean the yellow one? Can you describe it to me?
Interesting. He wants you to describe it, though he already knows what it looks like.
Oh wow! Right on your cop ledger. You like it? You're right. It's the harbinger of a new era. What would you like to know? The dead guy smiling. He defeated history. We are living in the age of history, and in the eyes of history, we are always already dead. How can we ever smile then? Because history is a lie, and so are its deaths. The present moment and life are the hardcore. The hardcore expels death. Or maybe he's not dead. Maybe he's just really ecstatic about the beats. Yeah, that interpretation holds. Simplicity was brought to us by classical soul artist modernism, but that was a tasteful, harmonious simplicity, right? Well, hardcore is not tasteful or outwardly harmonious. It's a warning shot. This will be dangerous. The echo of man's loss, haunting him. The sticker, the clothes, the music, same thing. It is. I guess one could write an entire treatise on the thing. But what for?
The large-headed...
Good morning, comrade. Yeah!
The machine's keyboard is still illuminated. Reveal the speaker.
Good morning, Fortress Accident on Sandbrun. This is the East Insulindian repeater station. Yes, I am alive. I am...
She repeats passwords. Programming people are paranoid.
I work as a repeater at the East Insulindian repeater station. It's my job to know where you are, Fortress Accident. As for me, well, I am sitting in my cubicle, surrounded by a wall of radios. Now, please tell me if there's anything else I can do for you, Fortress Accident. Good.
The machine's keyboard is...
The Coppernado is back. What do you want? What's that, Copper? You want us to help little old ladies now?
You're local law enforcement, aren't you? Helping troubled civilians should fall under your jurisdiction.
Yeah. We'll send someone out. Who is? Wait. It's the pigs, isn't it? God. Poor lady. Don't worry. We'll handle this. I think she got some family in Kurong or something. Bastards left her alone when she got sick. We've been getting complaints.
Hey, wasn't Everard's B team looking for her the other day? They said something about her, I don't know, finding something?
Yeah, I think you're right, Gene. She have something of yours, Pig? No? Well, whatever then, Copper.
No. They totally said what it was. What was it?
I don't remember. I was fucking drunk.
Let me know if you figure it out back there. Now, anything else we can help you with? Auntie LaPlante, we always called her. Something LaPlante.
Marianne, amigo. Fuck you, pig. What the fuck you are playing at, huh?
Easy, Al. Don't let him get to you. Have one for Auntie LaPlante, huh?
Don't disrespect Miss LaPlante, Copper. She's good people. We all get a little crazy. Wows, like before. Just an old lady. Her kids moved away years ago. Never come to visit. Never took her calls. She gets out every now and then. She did right by lots of us when we were kids. Always was a little off, but still.
Us kids? That must have been ages ago. She was better then.
Get wanted to be a cop, you mean? Well, shit. I don't actually know. Anyone know why she started acting like a pig?
No fucking clue. It's gotta be the crazy. Who'd want to be a pig? Respectable professions don't shoot kids, Cerdo. They don't beat confessions out of prisoners.
Easy there, Al. Sit down. We got one of our own to take care of, so let's not get worked up. Dunno. She lives by the water. Shit washes up all the time on the beach.
Police paraphernalia doesn't just wash up on the coast, people. It's not like we dump it at night. She bought it, collected it.
No problemo, cop man. We take care of our mentally ill here in Martinez. Ain't that right, boys?
Sure enough, we're the real heroes on these streets.
Oh, it's you again. Are you looking for a die? Very good. That will be 7 real for 1 custom die. 1 universal die for Wiro Untethered.
It feels icy. Just holding this die in your hand sends a jolt of cold down your spine. Through the dark resin, you can make out a nugget of bone, hewn from an alligator's jaw.
I'm sorry. I'm a bit overloaded just now, so I can only produce 1 die per customer.
You see a once bright mural towering above you. The signage has peeled off over the years, but you can still make out Feld Electrical R&D. A slogan used to intertwine with the loops a long time ago. Now, only a shadow of peeled letters remains. It says, "Tomorrow is just a whisper away."
Looks like tomorrow never came.
Above the mural, a collapsed roof, broken windows set in walls that are cracking and will soon also fall, and the coastal breeze rustling and sighing in the remains of the edifice. Feld Electrical. How ironic, all these dark rooms. Feld Electrical, you only know them as a small company that makes ink cartridges. Looks like they used to be big. There's something in the wind. Sometimes the only way to go forward is to fail first.
In there? She could. Or she could be in the identical room over there, or in that boat shack, in that church tower maybe.
Why single out this one building? The once bright mural towers above you, saying, Feld Electrical R&D. Tomorrow is just a whisper away. Suddenly, all is quiet. There is no cold hand brush. The ruin in front of you is silent as a...
How do we? She's probably... And then...
Or spiritual.
Anyway, we do it the old-fashioned way. Then, if we...
Walk the coast, the old boardwalk, the reeds. You can always come back. The once bright mural towers above you, saying, Feld Electrical R.
In there? She could. Or she could be in the identical room over there, or in that boat shack, in that church tower maybe.
Why single out this one building? Suddenly, there's a sigh, carried on the molecules around you, moving, flowing from high pressure to low pressure, like that of a woman emptying her lungs. She wraps the collapsing stone box in front of you in her breath, flowing through it. In through the collapsed roof, flowing down a concrete staircase to the basement, sweeping away footprints in the dust on the stairs, and then the beach below the boardwalk, its winding tunnels, a whisper away.
She's down there.
Okay. Why? So, how do we get in there? The doors were on the collapsed side of this building. They're gone, basically. Perhaps you can climb them. We are not climbing anything. I'm 43 years old, and I plan to live to see 70.